Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Well, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Boy, oh boy, has there been, I would say, a lot of things going on. I think that would be a very fair and accurate assessment. We didn't get anything going or happening in Iran. Supposedly, the quote unquote, the deletions had stopped, I think, for YouTube purposes. You also have there's so much going on. I'm sorry. You had the opposition, Machado of Venezuela, come to the White House and give away a Nobel Peace Prize. You know what they did to that Nobel Peace Prize? They literally took it into the toilet, or excuse me, the bathroom, put it into the toilet, used what they needed to do to as they extinguished bodily fluids onto that prize in the toilet and then flush that prize down the drain, because literally what that did, that lost all credibility. It is now stained. And that's really the most tasteless act of character, because it goes to show the level of wickedness. I mean, that's just how it goes. I don't know how else to explain it. I did not get what you got. So I'm going to destroy the reputation of that prize. I'm going to totally humiliate. And now you understand when people talk about, yeah, this is a mob boss. Yeah, yeah. America got exactly what it voted for. And to be quite honest, I'm sitting back with the popcorn, seeing everything start to unravel. Because the more that they try to cling on to, well, we could do better. We could do better, and we need black folks to make this thing work. Uh-uh. And now you have a Europe that's scrambling. They're scrambling to see if they're going to be met with the bluff of the takeover of Greenland. And they're now starting to see that even Canada is literally in its sights. Now, I don't know what that's all about. I'm only assuming this is my best case scenario that pancake syrup and Crown Royal. Black folks sitting like, you know what? You know, if that Crown Royal could be a little cheaper, you know what I'm saying? Oh, this is the National Day of Service. Get on out there and do service. Like, dang. You can tell that they really don't care about us. Can we just rest on a National Day of Service? Get on out there and work, slave. I was thinking about that this weekend. National Day of Service. They why? Because they just want you to be distracted. Nah, how about our services that we rest and we understood that what we did, or excuse me, what our ancestors thought that they were fighting for. Some of them, not all of them. Again, it was only 20% of our people. Until Martin Luther King himself said that he was afraid that we had integrated into a burning building, which we did. And understand the building was always on fire, but it was always us that was carrying the pail of the water to keep the flames down. And you can quickly tell that in less than a year, it all went crazy. Tomorrow will mark literally a year, calendar year. And the world is literally topsy turvy. And the crazy thing is, I try to give a little bit of an analysis, and to be quite honest, I I I, I don't know what to tell you. You don't know what smoke and mirrors. You don't know what's actually in the boardroom per se, the back rooms. the higher level offices. And to be quite honest, as I had always stated, and I have this in my book, The Rise of Africa, The Continent, Diaspora, and BRICS, Europe was always on the outs. They're the odd ones looking in. It's only the dollar that is literally carrying the load. Everything else, now that you're starting to see these other countries settle in renminbi, now that you're starting to see a record post of $1.2 trillion that China had as a surplus, purportedly. And why not? The reality is this: China could save money because they're doing business in their own currency. Why not? You don't have to go through the trade settlements and other processes and procedures that is designed to take away funds. There's always a cost in doing business within SWIFT. There is. When we were doing the container, there was always a cost. You lost funds on the exchange rate both ways, going into Ghana and going out of Ghana to the US. You lose on both ends. So imagine that you're a country that then has to settle. Well, guess what? You're already taking basically a 0.5% to 1% off coming and going. That starts to add up. That starts to take a toll. And depending on the type of country, it's how things are penalized even more. There's no way that the Ghanaian CD should be a 1 to what do they try to keep it at parity at like $1 to 12.5 CD. Why? Because that's set up. $1 to 600 francs. What? $1 to 2,300 Tanzanian T shillings. For what? Well, it's because you get a chance to use the dollar. See, the more that they are settling settlements, they're settling payments outside of the dollar, and guess what they get a chance to do? They get a chance to negotiate higher levels of the government. Hey, Treasury, you want to continue to do business with us? That's the discussion that they need to have. We're going to have a little bit more parity in this. But see, the problem is that when you have parity like that, you lose face value. This is why they're so afraid of gold. Gold is almost $4,700 an ounce. They're afraid. You have a standard like that. America doesn't produce gold like that. They don't. They haven't. They get their gold from the continent. They've been siphoning off the gold via the UN. Who do you think is in charge of the UN? Surprise, surprise. That whole sham of, oh, we're going to have peace in Congo. Okay, surprise, surprise. Now the whole earth is starting to see, and now the whole earth is starting to pay attention because the not so young and the very reckless is taking shape. And it really is taking shape right in front of our eyes. Shalom, so much media. Thank you for being here. As I had talked about the dying empire, um, for more than what 3 years, we were seeing this. I'm like, oh, they had war. This next administration, look, this was a game plan. So when people say, "Oh, you want to know what?" Europe and everything else. Look, in this K economy, if you're working in the defense industry, you're making money. Quite simply, you're making money. Doge wasn't going after any of that. That is their money making engine. What Doge was worried about was literally Medicaid, SSI, and all the other social safety nets, which obviously they're going to start to get rid of here very, very soon. Because the whole thing that they're trying to say is, well, it's privatization. We don't even want the government to be involved in that. It should be this, should be that. See, they'll have some sort of generic CSR, right? In terms of these now altcoins and all these other crypto tokenized policies, buy their coins, buy their tokens, buy their credits. Does that not sound very, very dystopian? You need this amount of credits. What type of citizen are you? Do you have your Hardee's tattoo? What type of loyal fan are you? Do you have your Starbucks tattoo? Your nano tattoo? Do you have your bando? It's what plants crave. It's got electrolytes. We may laugh, but that's exactly what we have seen due to the lessening of literally America's IQ. Talk about high IQ. No, we actually had higher IQs maybe 30, 40 years ago. This has been a systematic lessening of the IQ. It's been a systematic lessening of the standards of what we would thought was standards. All right. Listen up, chops. All the way from the UK, from the British mainland, South of London, Londoninium, right at tea time. Sister Chantal.
Shalom. Hi, everyone. Shalom to everyone in the chat. Oh my gosh. I looked and I'm like, where is Carrie? Because I put on YouTube for about, was it 11:30? I'm like, okay, something's not right. He's not on. And then I kind of left some long message, uh, 10 minutes, I think, on Jacob. Just oh my gosh, I'm getting stressed by what's going on in your neck of the woods. Like so many of our brothers and sisters, mainly sisters, if I'm going to be honest, because I haven't really seen so much of the brothers, but it's mainly the sisters that are coming out saying, we're not, like, just there's a few who seem to be very agitated about I show speed in Africa and
Oh, we
agitated.
were gonna get to that. Come on, we're gonna get to that one. Oh, we're gonna get to that one. Our brother was. Oh
Hi
man.
everyone. Oh, it's very disappointing actually.
That
You
was
know,
just
it's
man, that was so ignorant. But again, I'm gonna tell you this. Again, I dealt with racism in Egypt. I've dealt with racism on that Arab belt.
mm.
You're
Well,
gonna get with
we're
it.
not. Are we really surprised?
Yeah, I dealt with it firsthand when I was in Cairo.
Mm.
Firsthand. And I remember this because back at that time, I was what had happened. Okay. This is what happened. I was in Cairo and this was July. This was actually during the World Cup.
Mm.
I had to because I used to fly. That was no secret. I fly Delta. I love flying Delta. I'm sorry, I do. I'm a Delta person.
What is that? I don't know. There's
Delta's
words.
like Delta's a airlines. Delta's a airlines.
Oh, is it like a posh airline?
Um,
Uh,
it would be like your Virgin Atlantic. They're in that that type of air group or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. So
Did
um,
you do economy? Did you do first
but
class?
the government would pay for economy, and I would always, put a little bit of money on that to upgrade.
I know
I'm not
it
gonna
was.
lie. Look, I'm not gonna. I used to. You get what I'm saying? Like every other month, I would literally have to travel. It wasn't even every other month. It was like every month, and sometimes twice a month. I'd have to travel to the Middle East. You
Mm.
see what I'm saying? So yeah, and that actually that messes you up, especially when all your travels are over, 14 or 15 hours.
Mm.
And of course, that's that's being generous because it's a total of always like 24 hours. It's always a total of 24 hours. And so what ended up happening was that I was taking uh because they always would have us go across the water to transfer carriers. So we'd always have to transfer in Europe. At
Uh,
that time, we were on Air France and Air France to Egypt. And and to be honest, like Air France going from the United States over to France was actually pretty nice. But then they have like a danky like Air France carrier from like
oh,
it's like Air France Blue or something like that. Like from from um from from Paris to to Egypt. And it was never the best service, but that particular time, this was like literally right as France was getting ready to play in the World Cup final in 2018 there in Paris.
mm.
So and I had enough time. I was able to run on out to Paris and see the Eiffel Tower and look at the Champs Elysees and
God called you
everything.
bougie.
Yeah, you know what? Look, I had like 12 hours. I said, let me go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and do this. And then when I got back, I'm flying over to Cairo. I get to Cairo and my bags don't show up. Only a
Mm.
picture of them. Only my map that I had. Only my map that I had because we were doing different things with. We're doing an exercise with the Egyptian government, and the exercise it's called Bright. It was called Bright Star. I participated in Bright Star 18. That's all unclassified. So that was like that was their big thing, American forces and yada yada. But we were doing the planning for that, and I was mad. I said, "What happened to the rest of my bags?"
Mm.
They said, "Oh, sorry, Mr. Caddis, the rest of your bags, they will not be here until tomorrow." So I had to wait. And then tomorrow turned into another day. So I actually had to wait. And I told my bosses, and they're like, "Yeah, Jet, that's fine. Stay the extra day at the hotel." And I never will forget that because for some odd reason, we used to stay in New Cairo all the time. And New Cairo is actually very nice. It's very nice. But where we were at, it was called Zamelek. And Zamelek was kind of your downtown. It was actually in the Nile. It was kind of like your Manhattan almost because
Mm.
you're surrounded by it was an island there in the Nile. Okay, right there in Cairo. And this is your nice kind of upscale, that for them it was upscale. And I had to spend that extra day so I could get my bags. And the person that was there, I still remember it was a redhead Egyptian. And I
Oh.
still remember his name. His name was Majid. And Majid was like, well, I don't know if you are authorized to stay. I'm like, I am, and I'm good. And the only thing you need to, and I told him this, I said, and the only thing you need to worry about is his government credit card being charged. So you don't need to worry about this. Oh, I'm sorry, but you need to have authorization. So
Authorization.
yeah, basically, he was hating on me because
Mm.
I'm a black guy staying in a nice little area, and they really didn't want me to stay there. Those are the subtle things of racism that you deal with. And now you have a lot more blatant racism because, to be quite honest, again, as we had stated, America manufactures a lot of the racism. And it's kind of crazy because it's like this. The byproduct of America and the American dream is literally, well, if I get to America, I'm obligated to be racist.
Hmm. Even those
Okay.
who look like us,
Even those that may look like us.
or even darker than us.
Exactly. Because if you're not doing that, then you become a threat. You become a threat. Because they don't want singularity, quote unquote, in this manner. Because what that means is if you are on out there actually saying, hey, you're more than what they're telling you, or you're more than, what they're saying. That creates an issue.
Hmm.
And that issue for them is the last thing that they want to admit to because, again, on the continent, you have a lot of people that know the truth, but they're not allowed to say. And they're not allowed to say because if they were to say something, then they know that their visa is in trouble. Look, the whole visa threat that you're seeing right now has been done in the Obama administration, the Biden administration, the Bush. It doesn't matter. That's how it's been done. You want to say something, you want to say something to Negroes, you want to be around Negroes. Oh, then you're going to pay a price.
Hmm.
So this is why, I always tell people, I'm like, have a little bit of grace when it comes to, the FBA crowd, even though, the FBA is totally kind of taken a very bad spin into the native realm, you know. And that's all because of, COINTELPRO. Let's just be honest. There are people that have, like me, that have grown up with that have grown up of, well, look, you're black, you're blacker than me. And we had that. We have folks blacker than me. Oh, I can't be around you as a, you're African American. We are different. We are different. What? Why? Well, they're different because they get told that they're different and they get told to stay away. And see, that jeopardizes money because, again, 20, 30 years ago, you didn't have all these alternative economic environments. You didn't have all that. You didn't have a brick system. You were only able to do business, and that business was conforming to the will of the United States. Same here. Same with me. Oh, if I just kept my mouth shut and just laid low, stayed down, and everything else, oh, I'd have a decent job. I'd actually be pretty good. I don't know. Hey, that has nothing to do with me. I'm just here to get my paycheck. Well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? You want to know why that is? Because everybody here at the chat knows what I'm talking about. Because I know that our people are here working even right now on this day of service. That is basically your heat check for literally white supremacy. That's all that is. And that's where we get that from. Oh, well, you got to stay away from that one. For what? They didn't answer the question. They were exposed to something and didn't answer the question. And, I always knew all this because here's the thing. My family wasn't dumb. My grandmother wasn't dumb. None of my family was dumb. Matter of fact, I think the Most High that he gave me the family that I had because I took notes from my grandmother. I took notes from my aunts and my uncles. Because you truly had to understand how to play the game in this world, that the game is fixed against us. It is. It always has been. Now they can say, oh, well, it's the algorithm, and that ain't us. It's the algorithm, and well, careful what you're putting on social media. It's the algorithm. It didn't matter about social media. It didn't matter about any of that. And the reality is this, because the funny thing is, Sister Chantel and I, we spoke back on the Shabbat for like 2 hours. And the reality is this. As just as we were kind of touching on this, they're going through plagues. They're going through plagues. But here's what I want you to think about. They're going through plagues, but they're not trying to show that they're going through plagues, because what they're doing is they're trying to transfer and avoid all the plagues that they're going through onto Black folks and other folks, because the more that they can transfer on out, the more quote unquote time that they think that they have. But the more that they're trying to ignore, the worse it is for them, because again, when you're nervous, people draw off of that nervousness. So all they're doing is they're just continuing to shoot themselves in the foot. Go ahead, Sister Chantel, if you want to add something.
Can you hear me still?
Yep, now I hear you.
Oh, sorry. Well, I think you just said it all. You left me speechless, and that's a rarity in itself. But I don't know, man. For me, I just feel like as if, yeah, they're definitely trying to transfer this what they know they're going through, and it's weird to see because it's like they're trying. They know that they understand that we need you. They're trying to bring us into back into their judgment. Now, for some of them, I know they might not know this, and some of them might not mean it because they genuinely know that they need us. And I'm talking about the ones that have. Uh, there's always going to be a percentage of them that do stand for righteousness' sake, and I can guarantee you, the majority of them are not in these churches. But even a few of them, because there's a smaller amount of them that are like, no, we're going to leave them alone because they've done enough. It's for us to do the work now. But there's still some of them that are like, oh, but we need everybody to come together. Everybody needs to join. And normally that would make sense, but we know the history. Had you guys done this like decades ago and kept it consistent instead of, well, everybody was up for grabs when there was the belief that the civil rights was accomplished and everybody took their hand and took out a big scoop of the pie, and then you guys were left with very little to nothing. And they're still, look, it's like, I said this to my oldest son. I said, what they've done, it's like, imagine you've got this cake, this big, beautiful cake, and it's yours, right? And you set it down on the table, and everybody comes. They just dive in. But the one that comes, the first one, he comes and he takes pretty much like almost 2/3 of the cake, right? And then everybody else divvies up their little portion, and then you're left with a sliver. But the one that's got the biggest piece, yeah, he's scoffing it down. He's still got more, and he's literally trying to ram the rest of it down his throat. And then he looks over at you, and he's watching what you're doing with your little sliver. He's chuckling to himself because he's like, you ain't going to be able to do nothing with that. But then he sees that you're doing something. You're making like like a little pancake. You make a little crepe, and you put that little slither inside the crepe. You roll it up. You put some sauce on there, and you sprinkle it with whatever. Put some cream on it, and you're about to eat it. And you think, okay, this looks really good. And the others are watching, but he's watching. His eyeballs is hot on there, and it's like, just as you're about to take your first scoop, he comes in with his flipping big fork and just goes, he
Absolutely.
up and leaves you with even less of what you had initially. That's them. They just don't see that. They don't see it's the prophecy or the warning that I can't remember. Was it Nathan, the prophet, that came before David and said, "You are that rich man." The rich man with all his cattle and his sheep and his oxen and everything else, and then you had the poor little family with their one little sheep.
Yep.
And instead of this rich man taking from his army of sheep and whatnot to serve his friends and this little party that he's holding, instead of him doing that, he goes to the poor man, snatches that sheep that this family fell in love with, reared as a little pet, right? Took this sheep and snatched it and kept it for himself. There is so much to understand with that. Not only is it just what we have in terms of our resources, but it's also in terms of the biggest resource, which was our word, which was the love of Yahusha, who came to us, who we raised amongst us. He was born into our nation, not theirs. He was born into our nation, and he came for our benefit. But what did they do? They came and they took and they weaponized it. They weaponized our word against us, turned it on us, and then said, "Oh, you can have a slither of this." And then even when the promise of, with the promise of, they had everything on this world, and then even with the promise of, oh, you get to enjoy your heaven up in heaven, right? After you die. After that, even now they're taking that back and they're saying, I don't know how many of us saw this clip where some white pastor basically said, "Oh, yeah, I don't really believe that black people can go to heaven." So now you're denying us that. This is what I'm talking about. Always taking. There is no end to the taking, the thievery, the theft. Now we're seeing Mr. Beast trying to go to Africa. Like, what is with these people? Why couldn't you go to your own land? Come here. We've got kings and queens here, don't they? You're always proud of that. Why can't you come here? Why do you have to go to our land? When Speed went, none of you were trying to come over here.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as he goes to Africa and he's getting love from his people, because they don't know that when they step up in this place, they're getting love like that.
Mm-mm.
People over here be like, "Who you? I don't care. Get out of my face." That's how they be going on. Let me tell you something. White Europeans do not like white. They don't like European Americans. Let's just say that. They don't like them. They don't. They think they're arrogant and conceited.
Well, and you know what? We've been saying that for a long time. It's not like that is. It's not this isn't something brand new to us. We've been saying this. And let me go into this article right here. I've had this up for a little bit, but here's something. Stephen Miller says Minnesota authorities ordered to stand down and surrender to federal officers as ICE protests intensify. And this is his thing on X. Only federal officers are upholding the law. Local and state police have been ordered to stand down and surrender. Wow.
Oh, dear Lord.
President Donald Trump's top aide, Stephen Miller, shockingly declared that local and state law enforcement have been ordered to stand down and surrender as anti-ICE protests continue to grip the state. They're turning that into a police state. Federalization. They've been federalized. Wow.
It's happening a lot faster than we thought.
Yeah, it is. We were saying that. It is. It is. And yes, brother Asaph, I do have the clip. I'm going to try to play that. Because this is an interesting one. Let me get into this one. Let me see. Hopefully I'll be able to. Let me get to this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's not allowing me to access that. Yeah, sometimes we get some hang-ups. Let me see if I could do this again. Sorry, chat. Give me a second. I'm working with some technical difficulties trying to pull things off of a WhatsApp here. But
right now, but most of y'all are not gonna.
Okay, here we go. Let's see how this goes. Oh, come on. Come on, screen. Oh wow, I am okay. That's interesting. So I do have the clip, brother ASAP, but I'm actually not able to play it. My thing is really messed up. Let me see what I can do with this real quick, and hopefully I'll be able to kind of bring that on up here in a little bit. So getting back to the Minnesota, that lays credence to, in my opinion, why Minnesota?
Well, are you asking me or is it rhetorical?
I think that's rhetorical. You know, why Minnesota?
Well, something
And
happened 6 years ago.
well, yeah, it's that, but also you now have Greenland. And when people ask about, you know, what that actually means, why that's important, you know, and to me, you know, Sister Chantel and I had this discussion on Saturday, because I did have to ask. I'm like, man, this is kind of crazy with them, you know, and the whole Greenland thing and everything else. And you know, to me, I was thinking that there's some sort of like, you know, the funk that was being faked. You know, that's just how it goes. Everybody's trying to fake the funk, you know, and that's what I was thinking. Like, okay, they're trying to fake the funk on this one. No surprise, no surprise. But then I had to realize this. They're really this is a real deal. This is a real deal. And that and you know what was signaling that to me is, you know, we did say that America really did want to weaken Europe. And the whole reality to this was always America wanted to subjugate Europe. They did. Sorry, they did. I don't know what else to tell you.
You apologizing to me?
Yes,
I am not triggered by that.
Yes, because
and I can say that anybody from the UK in here, especially like Uncle Asaph, will agree. We don't care.
Well, here's the thing: you all may not care. You all may not care, but they care.
Oh, of course they would care. America right now, but most of y'all are not going to like this. We are literally.
All right, let me see if let me see if it's on. Okay, give me a second. Hopefully you all can hear this. Can you all hear this?
I can't hear it.
Okay, give me just a second. Let me shut this down. And let me play this from the beginning. All right. So the audio's up. So here we go. Give me one if you can hear it.
I'll tell you what's going on in America right now, but most of y'all are not going to like this. We are literally in a let my people go moment. Moses versus Pharaoh. I'm talking about plagues and all. Because after 400 years of oppression and marginalization, the black community rose up in 2020 to demand justice from Pharaoh. It came with a plague called COVID that left over 1 million people dead. Still, we did not listen. Instead, we hardened our hearts. So more plagues have followed. The second plague was the big lie, the loss of truth. The third plague was January 6th, the loss of the rule of law. The fourth plague, the plague of tariffs, the loss of economic stability. And the fifth plague, the plague of ICE raids, the loss of human dignity and decency. Our economy is shrinking. Our global standing in the world is diminishing. Our rights are being eroded every single day. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse until we listen to the voice of the Black community calling for justice. Let my people go. And remember, those people didn't go away empty-handed. The Bible says they plundered the Egyptians, asking for silver and gold. So don't forget, the wealth transfer is part of the deal. So I'm going to tell you what's going on.
All right. I'm going to replay that again because there is a lot of medicine coming out of the pill bottle. A lot. Let me do this.
In America.
Sometimes you have to shake to wake.
Yeah. Let me look. This is fair use. Fair use.
I'll tell you what's going on in America right now, but most of y'all are not going to like this. We are literally in a let my people go moment. Moses versus Pharaoh. I'm talking about plagues and all. Because after 400 years of oppression and marginalization, the Black community rose up in 2020 to demand justice from Pharaoh. It came with a plague called COVID that left over 1 million people dead. Still, we did not listen. Instead, we hardened our hearts. So more plagues have followed. The second plague was the big lie, the loss of truth. The third plague was January 6th, the loss of the rule of law. The fourth plague, the plague of tariffs, the loss of economic stability. And the fifth plague, the plague of ICE raids, the loss of human dignity and decency. Our economy is shrinking. Our global standing in the world is diminishing. Our rights are being eroded every single day. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse until we listen to the voice of the Black community calling for justice. Let my people go. And remember, those people didn't go away empty-handed. The Bible says they plundered the Egyptians, asking for silver and gold. So don't forget, the wealth transfer is part of the deal. So
well, and I want to speak to that because I've been wow. And you don't think that they've been paying attention? I'm sorry, that is the most eloquent thing that I've heard so far.
Truthful, not just eloquent, but truthful. Eloquent, you can eloquently lie.
Most logical, most, I'm going to say,
but he told the truth. Yeah.
And, I don't care when people say, oh, it's a Gentile. Yeah. Sometimes these Gentiles will be speaking the truth. But how do they speak the truth? They speak the truth when their arms are literally broken. Not about to break. Their arms have to be broken. Their wrists have to be snapped. Their shoulders have to be dislocated. Their forearms have to be suffering a compound fracture.
But I think it's a lack of vision from most of them. I don't think this is why they say that we're the most spiritual people on the earth, and we are. They don't see until it's too late. But having said that, there have been a few that have been saying this for a while. They just weren't being heard because a lot of people did not want to hear them, especially a lot of their own people. So there have been, we've seen all these videos of them saying it. How many Israelites did videos of Gentiles that were literally telling the truth of who is and who they are, who we are, and what's going to happen to them if they don't repent? If America, if the West in general does not repent. They've been saying that. There has been a few of them that have been saying that, but nobody wants to listen. And unfortunately, a lot of our Christian brothers and sisters didn't want to listen either.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is that? We would have not just we would have healed Babylon, but she refused to be healed. Oh, this cuts so much deeper. This cuts so much deeper.
Doesn't have to necessarily be
I mean,
listening to us, sometimes, Pastor Rick. Sometimes they come by this by the Most High himself or by reading. We know that by,
let me
what is his name?
let me do
Um,
this. I gotta give me just a second. Give me just a second. All right. I'm gonna push this back. Yeah, Pastor Rick, he does sound like an Israelite. That's hard for a people that's very proud
mhm,
to recognize something like that. I'm gonna start here. This is Jeremiah 16 and 6, starting at 16. It says, "Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith Yahuwah, and they shall fish them after after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain, from every hill, and out of the holes of the rocks. For mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. And first, I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have defiled my land. They have filled my inheritance with carcasses of their detestable and abominable things." Here we go. Jeremiah 16:19. "O Yahuwah, my strength and my fortress and my refuge, in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, Surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Shall a man make gods unto himself? And they are no gods. Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahuwah." Oh, they're starting to know.
mm.
They're starting to know. Oh my goodness.
Yes, this is not Jacob's trouble. This is not Jacob's trouble. We've been through that.
No,
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 no, no.
no. As I put in the description of this video, this is the flip. The curses are
Hmm.
reversing. The curses are reversing. And again, the curses are reversing because the the Gentiles don't have the control that they once had over on the continent. They just don't. And you want to know why they don't have the control? They don't have that spiritual lever anymore. So I'll have to have Sister Chantel read the word of Yahuwah states. Brother
Which
Gar said,
part?
you got to read it in the camp member cadence.
That's right.
That's right. like Drewski. That's right. That's right. That's right. Man, listen, Drewski was tearing some people up. And you know what? And you know what?
Look, they
Honestly,
did the work. I'm not even gonna think.
I wasn't really even offended with Drewski when he, was talking about the Israelite camps. I'm like, whatever. And it's funny because the Christians were really offended with the mega church. I had to laugh because when he was talking about his shoes, he was up in the little suspension and he was showing his shoes. He said, Pastor, they asked Pastor, well, why are you, in the shoes like that? I don't know what type of shoes that they were. Some sort of like name brand designer shoes. And he said, well, you see this? I'll wear these. I don't know what they were. But he said, because I gotta be walking in the blood, and the the the
Oh,
sole of his feet, the sole of his feet
was
was
it
in
the
red.
Louboutin? The
The boot.
Louboutins? That it's the Christian Louboutins. That's right.
Okay. He said, "I wear my Christian Louboutins because I gotta be walking in the blood."
Only our people will come up with the most ridiculous and hilarious excuses.
Oh,
I swear.
I'm sorry. I died laughing on
Walking in
that
the blood of Jesus Christ.
one. He said I was walking in the blood. Oh, oh,
What was that? What was that
I'm so
song by
ignorant.
Michael Jackson? Was it Blood on the Dance Floor?
Oh man, my good. Yeah, exactly. And that was ignorant, but that was funny. And then they're like, "Oh, you're mocking God." No, he wasn't. He wasn't mocking the Most High. Honestly, what he was doing is he was calling out the mockery that they had towards the Most High, and that was the whole reason. And Sister Shonda gave a very fantastic synopsis to that. And here's the thing. And here's the thing. Um, this is why you need to be walking holy, lest any man judge you. And people don't like to be judged when it's like, oh, they can see the gig. I know a lot of our people do that. The camps, that he was talking about the camps, and the camps got mad. Why? Shout out to hypocrisy. And now they see that, and that's literally what's going on. Pastors literally driving away in their Bentleys. There was a news story last year. It was last year. And the funny thing about this news story, it was because this pastor, I think that they're headquartered in Charlotte. But it was funny because there was a house that this pastor owned, and I mean this was like a huge mega mansion on like a ridiculous amount of acres, like 7 or 8 acres. And I laughed because I knew exactly where this was at. And my son and I were talking about this because it was right down the street from us, or here in Tampa. And he just didn't have a mansion. He had mansions, at least 4. And the FBI literally went and raided the mansions. And they were literally having to free people that they had basically human trafficked. And they were telling these folks, oh, yeah, this is real. This is a true story. They were telling these folks that they had to meet the quota or else they wouldn't be blessed with the meal. They had to make like a ridiculous amount of money a day. It was like 50 or 60,000 total a day. It was ridiculous.
What?
And it was just so much greed. It was appalling. You can Google that story.
The most greediest,
Yeah. And unfortunately, the pastor was a brother. And he had also like other associate pastors in his circle running a racket.
The most greed is to be found in the Christian church.
It was sad. It was very sad. And the reality is, to me, that's cult. You can't leave. You can't do this. Some of these folks, they were there for years. Oh, that was very ravenous. The love of money is what? The root of all evil.
Uh-huh.
And now you literally have here a lack of compassion. And now you have here Sister Gates the Holder had put this plainly with what the Roman Catholic Church was doing and had always done. Those doctrines are demons, man.
Well, it comes
It was,
over from paganism.
yes. Yes, it
All they
does.
did was just rename things. I mean, the all their little cathedrals and everything. They're not cathedrals. I mean, they're where they used to have their little.
That was their ceremonies. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
their Mars, their Jupiter, Saturn's,
Mm.
that's all that was. So you even have an obelisk over in St. Peter's Square, over there, or St. Paul's, or one of, who knows? I really don't know. I don't
I
care.
think it's St. Paul's. St. Peter's is the one over here.
Yeah, St. Paul's, but it has an obelisk. What's the obelisk for? The obelisk was always
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
phallic symbol. That had nothing to do with the word. Matter of fact, they
Yeah.
would say that they would erect what?
Do,
They would
do, do you
erect
know
these
something?
stones for what? For temple prostitution.
Yeah.
Think
Do you know
about that.
something, Tara?
Yes.
It's funny because I was just thinking. Um. So obviously you look at that image. Most of us know what it's referring to. In occultism, but I think it's even deeper than that. I think it reflects the gods that they were worshiping. And remember what I was saying to you about that anime that I was talking about the way the deities shifted from one of them shifted from being a female to a male.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in itself it's kind of like the Baphomet kind of symbolism, because you've got that phallic symbol within the womb of that canal, that the circle kind of thing. And although we often believe that it's referring to the act in itself, what if it's actually talking about the duality of these gods, these entities, which you see dualism in everything that they do.
So what? So their gods start off um
They're
righteous,
neither male or female.
and
No.
yeah,
Well, that could be that as well. But they're neither male or female, or they're both.
yeah,
There's black
they're
and white. You
androgynous.
always see.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see the duality on the tiled floors. You'll see the two pillars.
That
You
is true.
all of this duality. It's like it's in your face. But we just assumed when looking at that from a bird's eye view, we assume that we're looking at the actual act of the phallic inside. I'm not going to think, but what if it's not talking about the act itself, but talking about the duality of that entity to shift? Because remember, Gnosticism was something that was also practiced back then, and they believed it, right? And they believed that we're supposed to go back. That Adam and Eve was before the fall. They were one being, one entity, and the fall created
Was
the
the
first
division?
schism.
Yeah, it was the
Right,
division. So
right,
when when the
of
Most High
both
said,
male and female.
yeah, so when the Most High said, let you'll have a partner, that partner symbolized creation,
Mm,
because now you're going to, from the created being, that being is now able to create
yes, itself with itself.
with
Ill.
itself. And it's in the design of the created being was to always give glory to the Most High. When people say, "Well, what's our purpose in life?" To give the Most High glory, to praise Him in everything you do. It's not hard. And what that means is that they don't want to accept that. Well, yeah, that is our role in life. What's the matter with it? Because there's always rebellion, and that rebellion follows who? The enemy.
But even that, it's over not over explained, but okay, take for example, I think I was saying this to my mom. Creation itself glorifies the Most High without
Mm.
actually doing anything but just being. For example, the stars. I remember reading about how the stars emit frequency. Space is not silent; it's not a vacuum,
Mhm.
and that's something they've admitted. But we also know that because it talks about the stars of heaven praising the Most High. We just assume it's just these little blinking lights, up in, what if they're the angels anyway, the wandering stars? And what if that so-called noise that the scientists are hearing is actually them talking, singing? I don't know. But my point is that the stars, the everything outside, all of creation literally bears witness and praises the Most High. We don't have to. A thing does not need to say praise be to the Most High to actually praise the Most High. Just do what you're supposed to do for what you were created to do. We have been given the ability to praise, to sing, to this, that, and the other. But a cat being a cat is always going to be a cat because it was created thus. When man decides to take cat and mix it with dog, you're not praising the Most High. You're praising yourself. That's what the fallen did. Then when they started mixing and recreating things out of sequence, that was praising them. So when a cat is meowing and doing what it's supposed to do, it's praising the Most High. When the birds flock and make these beautiful patterns in the sky when they're following one another, I've forgotten what the pattern formation is called, and the fish do the same thing under the ocean, that's praising the Most High. Sometimes
Mm.
we over simplify something that is just simple. You look at the sun, you come out of your house, and it's a beautiful day, and you say, praise be to the Most High, thank you. But if that sun is constantly burning down on you without the governance of the rain falling, right, you then become upset with, oh no, we're in a drought. The rain, as the clouds come in the sky, you start to get the rain falls. It is also a blessing also in itself. The clouds and the rain, they praise the Most High as well because they're doing what they're supposed to do. It's when humanity or other fell creatures start to get involved and start to do things, resequencing things that they're not supposed to be doing, cloud seeding, that's not praising the Most High. You're hiding another creation from the creation. We
Mm.
look up in the sky and we see the sky is just completely gray. The Most High did not create that. He did not want for that. Man decided to do that.
Mm.
Man shelters us or hides us from the face of the sun. The sun is life. Those that hide from the sun, it's like, well, what are you hiding from? It gives us life. It allows the plants to create photosynthesis. It allows for food, the food that we eat. Why are you trying to change that?
Because
So
exactly, and that corruption, and Brother Garth did post this the channel. Yeah, Big Red breaks that all down. I think he goes live every Thursday night. So please go ahead, support our brother, Big Red. He's on it with that. And Red and I have had these discussions just like this in the
I have not
background.
spoken to Big Red.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, he's
oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah. So Red is he's rebooting his channel, which is awesome. And, these are a lot of the discussions that we have to really engage in this community, because, again, a lot of what is happening is they're now facing exposure. They're facing exposure because here's the thing. We're not going to know it all. We're not going to understand it all, especially not in this captivity. Because why? Because we're given over to the power of the wicked, right? And literally it said that. Look, they're holding us fast. We're holding under the grip of the strong man. They're very strong. But the problem is that they don't know that the Most High is stronger. This is why we have this. We just said Jeremiah 16 and 19. That why? You read it all the way down to the end of the chapter, verse 21, that he's going to let them know. Look, when the Most High lets you know, you're going to know, and then you're going to perish. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
When the Most High has to show you, you're going to know, and then you're going to perish. This is why, look, a lot of us are going to be coming on out of here weeping. That's what Jeremiah 50 and 51 is saying. Why? We're weeping. We're going to be weeping for loved ones that perished along with this. I can't. My heart is in this. I can't. My children, my wife, my husband, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my grandchildren, my brother, my sister. That flea, and I think what I was talking to someone the other day, one of my QTUA folks, and it's interesting because we were talking about the situation in Minneapolis, and it's interesting to note this. ICE was performing a raid in Minneapolis. And the neighborhood that they were performing the raid in, there was a young African-American family trying to leave the neighborhood because they had kids. He had a 6-month-old with them and some other children. Him and his wife were trying to get up on out of there. Naturally so. I mean, it's loud. It's disturbing. The kids can't get any sleep. I get it. We all get it. As a parent, let's get away from here. If we have the means, we'll rent a hotel for a minute, spend the night there, get some sleep, get caught up, or go over to our family members. But we got to get up on out of here. What did they do? They fled.
Where did they go to?
They didn't go very far. Matter of fact, where they actually ended up going for that night, they had to go to the hospital. Because when ICE spotted them leaving, black folks are exposed. And they jumped on them. Oh, and they shot them with the little pepper gas, pepper spray gas canister, and the baby wasn't able to breathe. Stop breathing. The 6-month-old. They were able to resuscitate and revive the baby. Do you understand this? Thank you, Cindy Lou, for the gift. I appreciate that. Hallelujah.
You
didn't even know about that, Sister Chantel, because we didn't talk about that.
No, I didn't. I didn't know about that, and I haven't heard anybody else talking about it either.
Yeah, that happened.
People just barely start talking
that
about
was the case.
The other guy.
And he was on out there. He's like, look, my baby can't breathe. And we're trying to leave the neighborhood, and they shot into the car with my young kids, my family, my wife and I, and my family, young kids, trying to get out of there while they're doing the ICE operation, and we had been exposed. And they went straight after them. You know how wicked that is?
Beyond wicked. Like mm, I do you know how do you know how much it takes for me to not scream right now? And I'm not just saying, I mean scream colorful language. Look, I, I already told you, you've heard me. Look, I said what I said. This is the reason why I said I could not be doing no show like this. I could not. I couldn't. The day I launch will be the day it's off. I can't. I can't. I can't. My I hear things like that, and I just think to myself, how evil do you have to truly be to do that? Like, I don't even like to see. Look, I'm not straight up. I told you already. Like, I'm not an animal person. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. But anything with a face on it. How can you look in the eyes of another being, whether it's an animal, a child, elderly, disabled? How can you look in the face and do that? How could you shoot? How could you? How could you line up? I heard that they did this to they pew pewed a PC boy in his eye.
Mm.
Like, look, it was us, and unfortunately, everybody has become accustomed to us, to our bodies being laid strewn on the ground, and nobody caring. We cared because it's us. We cared, but nobody else cared, right?
And now they're the ones that's also in the target. They're also in the crossfire. You know, I saw something the other day. I wanted to bring that up. I don't know if I had gotten to it, but I saw something the other day. It was called, and this was from like a radio host or personality. I'm not going to bring this on up, but it was called Awful. It was a aggravated or annoying or angry white female urban liberal. That's what they're calling. Do you know what they're doing is now they're even dehumanizing their own people.
Yeah, yeah,
You know that was the whole issue that they had with different things, and I would tell you this, and that's why I'm not gonna delve too deep into this topic. But the reason that you have what you have, especially right now, when you have religious groups, and I'm just going to keep it like that, especially in the ninth century, I want to keep it like that, was that the order of the day was that you were dictating your political and social standing. Especially in an area there in the Volga region, because that's how Islam had thrived, and quite simply, that's how Christianity had thrived. And now people are starting to understand that in the concept of all of this truth, Well, your religious structure was based off of trying to maintain a social standing, a social construct through religion. And then obviously that religion, the converts, the conversions, then got mingled into an actual ethnicity, which it never was. Which is why in certain places they don't want to have obvious DNA testing.
Hmm.
So now these constructs that now you're seeing, they're just being played out over and over and over again. What type of an American are you? Look, I know we're about to be asked that question. I know that when the next time I have to travel outside the United States, I know I'll be having to ask the American oath question. Probably to the effect of, do you love this such and such person? Do you love the flag? And that's why I said, family, when I leave, I may not be able to come back into the United States, or I may be detained. Do you want the truth? Let me tell the truth and shame the devil, because let me tell you the truth. A lot of black folks are about to go to jail coming back and forth when those questions are about to be asked. We're going to have to detain you at least indefinitely. Exactly, Pastor. Detained indefinitely. Look, I, I I don't know if I was ever in love with the country. I mean, it was tolerated, but until y'all were just trying to fire us, produce all sorts of economic guardrails on us to the point that you didn't care. Now you want us to be loyal. You want us to, stand up and say, "Oh, I love this place." Yes, the Zots do. But you don't even want to be truthful with the actual economic numbers of how bad we're treated. You realize that we're never going to get those numbers ever. So those statistical analysis and everything else, it's not going to happen. Why? Because they're not going to tell you the truth of who they're targeting. Well, if black folks could just, pull themselves up by the bootstraps, well, we would. But guess what? You're not giving us any type of business loans. You're not giving us any type of grants or funding, even when we're doing what we said we're doing. That's the QTUA thing right there. We can show everybody till we're black and blue in the face. You just have to put that Stephen A. Smith meme on them. And it's like, guess what? We don't care. I'm sorry, that's pretty awful. I'm sorry, it's pretty awful. Shout out to Brother Fast Nickel. We have about 250 in the chat. Go ahead, chat. Go ahead. Like, share, subscribe. Share this video, chat. Share it up. I have to get my my iShow speedisms. How many subscribers we gonna have in the count? Oh, I'm getting my subscribers from 5,000. I'm not about that. Most time willing, that would be there one day. I don't know. That would take a very monumental shift in the way that people are looking at things. But all I can say right now is I'm going to play a video. This video is actually found at q2a.org. q2a.org. It is now live on q2a.org. And well, let me just tell me what you think. Okay. Let me put this up on full mass. And there we go. Here, this is Tema Accra Road. And you can see the beach all right here. Let's see if I can zoom in just a bit. Very beautiful, very scenic spot. Folks are on out there bathing in the beach on a Sunday afternoon. Got the canoes going. It's over all beautiful. It's a nice sunny day in Accra. So I'm in one of the probably creepiest woods on the face of this earth. This is known as the Last Bath in Asim Manso here in Ghana. So right behind me, we just came back from the water. In this place, this is where the baths were for those that had been enslaved, Africans that were taken over to basically all over the world via the transatlantic slave trade. In these woods, you don't want to be out here at night because people get scared. They have folklore thinking that the ancestors of those that have died inhabit these woods as, different spirits and things of that nature. Besides the point, you do have to give a little bit of awe and reverence because of the stories that our ancestors went through crossing on over into where we live right now as their descendants. So I'll have more to follow.
Jamaica, Barbados, Cuba, we are all returning to the same place where our ancestors had their birth. So we are actually back home. It wasn't the last time. We the descendants have come to have a feel of it. Yeah. So when you turn back and you look at the wall, we are back home. So when we are going, we will stand there, take a picture to signify that we the descendants have come to see our ancestors.
We're here at the Last Baths. This is over here in Asin Manso. It's about
Oh. My bad.
Because people now, as they're
That's a little touchy. I'm trying to get us back up.
seen Monso, it's about an hour and a half north of the slave castle. Hey, greetings, everyone. I just want to give you all a little bit of an update where I'm at. I'm here at the port of Tema here in Ghana. So I just got through meeting with some officials that's going to help me to get the container over to where it needs to go. And in that meeting, it was a lot of great cooperation and coordination. Part of that is that you have to be able to communicate, and you never know what to expect when it comes to the type of relationships that you build on up. Whether you're in middle school or you're just an adult that's trying to understand the world again for the new times that we're living in. Being able to understand that these relationships do carry on out a lot of value, and it supports a lot of different initiatives that will then help for the future. No matter what you plan, no matter what you're thinking, or maybe what you're not thinking, it's just what you're being led to. So those are some of the tidbits. And again, you can follow more on my travels here to Accra, now Tema, and pretty soon over to Burkina Faso. There we go. We're leaving the Accra region. We're heading up into the mountains. So camera's a little shaky from the roads, but this is really about only 45 minutes outside of Accra as we're heading a little north and to the west. So we're here just, seeing folks on a Saturday, enjoying the weather, enjoying that was some fresh coconut water or juice. So you can see the valley. Here we are as we're making our way. These are rubber trees right here. So a whole bunch of vegetation that is obviously minerals and resources that has to be accounted for.
All right, gentlemen, and ladies, I am here at the warehouse. So this is, I'm just taking a video of our pallets. Literally has a Quest United sign on it, Burkina. A mix of different things. We got dental stuff. We got nets and needles, pallet. We got so many things. I don't even know. All sorts of stuff that these guys have already packed up, ready to go. Just giving you a sense of how much work Stephen and his colleagues have done here. A bunch of things all wrapped up, ready to go. Been working hard on this stuff. I'm still taking a video.
This is Karis Copeland with Neo Diplomacy and Region 6 and QTUA. So behind me is a container that is going to Burkina Faso. And I'm happy to present that this will be going on the water here in the next couple of hours as we're getting things taken care of to move along a vision and a dream that we as the diaspora have been working on creating. So thank the Most High for where we're at right now and where we're getting ready to go, because this is awesome.
All right. Yay. Yay.
As you can see, we're getting ready to get up all of the medical supplies in the container. And as we're going, you can tell that there's a lot more supplies that's going to be here going to Burkina Faso. So stick with me in this journey.
All right. Thank you, Brother Fast Nickel, for that video. That is there on qtua.org. And keep in mind, that mission had been completed. Yes, that was a lot of supplies. That was a 40 foot container worth of supplies. And I was, as I was talking to Brother Fast Nickel yesterday, and he was saying, he said, listen, Brother Karras, when you talk about everything, a lot of people really can't appreciate what you were saying, because to be quite honest, we're just thinking a container and that's it. Now, you saw how that was graphically depicted in this video. That place where I'm looking at the rubber trees, there's more video to that. And I do want to, we're producing that right now. Brother Fast Nichols is working on some more video and images, and that will be up for the fundraiser that we're doing. And that fundraiser started yesterday. Now, let me tell you a bit about this fundraiser. And I'm going to tell you, this fundraiser is actually under a time constraint. It's under a time constraint because there are literally other outside influences that you have that's trying to compete with different things. So, bottom line up front, we have been given, and this isn't just the last bit of time. No, I've actually been working on this for over 6 months. But we have been graciously extended the time by the chief to collect funds necessary to acquire land in Ghana for the purpose of building, number one, a hospital in its first phase and other land development projects. This land acquisition project, well, again, we have been working on this. There's some things that I was doing behind the scenes, but there are some things that did not pan on out. And that was the upfront money. There's upfront costs to this. Now, the blessing is that the mechanisms to build the hospital, they're already in place. I.e., the funding, i.e., the construction, the engineers, the surveyors, you name it. It's already in place. Now, there are things that I wanted to present to the community, and there are things that honestly I didn't want to present to the community. Sorry, I didn't. And the reason that I'm presenting this to the community to begin with is quite simple. The Most High humbled me. And I had to laugh how the Most High humbled me because this is a project, as we had stated, that container wasn't because of me. That container is because of you all. Putting the word out. Creating that word of what that vision looks like and what that vision looked like. And again, I did share the photos of when the container made it to Bogadogo University Hospital in Burkina Faso back in October. This is an endeavor to acquire the land to build a functional hospital that is designed to be a world-class hospital. The reality is this. To be able to support this mission means that I'm asking our people here to talk to other people, to talk to the community. So we can get these funds raised to acquire the land and to build with our brothers and sisters on the continent. Let me tell you this. They want to trust us. They want this thing to happen. But when I met with our brothers and sisters there in the traditional council, oh, they were grilling me. Are you going to be able to do this? Are you going to be able to do that? And you know what? That answer at that time was absolutely. But what I thought was going to be the case in terms of the support, that wasn't there. Now, the funding for the construction and the land development, that is there. But I had to learn a very hard lesson. That what I thought was the case wasn't actually the case. And I was actually disappointed. I didn't think that this project was going to go. Honestly, I thought that I was going to throw in the towel. And the chief said this. He said, I'm going to give you till April 1st. We had already been working on this since June of last year. And the acreage that they are allowing for us to utilize, that's just the beginning. I didn't want to publicize all this because honestly, I thought, all right, I can just go ahead and we can get the donors and we can do this and do that. And you know, the funny thing is, the Most High was just literally shutting the door on everything. And I said, thank you, Father. I was disappointed. But then I had to realize, nope, just like with the container, we're going to have to build this throughout the community. And we accomplished the container. I know that there are people that are on this channel to see things fail. I get it. I understand. I understand our people. But here's the awesome thing about the Most High. He doesn't fail. He doesn't. Now, as the world is crumbling, guess what? Our relationship to the continent has actually been thriving along the way. Some hiccups, that's expected. But here's the campaign. We have until literally March 31st to raise the funds. And honestly, the way that this is going to go is with your help. It's with your help to ask people and to show people and to point people to QTUA.org. 2% of Black African American nonprofits receive grant funding. 2%. Those are some very, very low odds. Q2 is literally donor supported. These projects are donor supported. You want to talk about a miracle? This is a miracle. The only thing I can do is just present this in front of the Most High's people and go from there. So, again, shout out to Brother Fast Nickel for presenting an awesome video. I wanted to show that to our people. We had about 250 folks viewing, and that number quickly diminished to 220. And I get it. But let me tell you this. I already know we're only going to get a certain amount of supporters. I get it. But here's the reality to this campaign. I'm praying that our people are opening up their mouths and are finding people that will be able to help support this awesome mission. That's what I'm praying. You know, what good is social media if we're not utilizing that for helping our people? The only thing I can do is just put that on out there. If I had the funds to support this, shoot, I'd support this thing in a heartbeat. Sister Minnie says Ghana's gate is wide open. The Most High said we would go back the way we came. Absolutely. This is at q2ua.org, and you go to donate 2026. I'm going to be working with Brother Fast Nickel to get more media content on out there. Some of the things, it does have some sensitive information. So Brother Fast Nickel is going through that. But here's the thing. Don't be ashamed of what we're doing. We're doing some awesome things. We got a medical shipping container out to the continent, to Burkina Faso, literally right before the Burkina Faso shut its doors. That curries favor. And we've been able to engage with an awesome village that has given us, honestly, undeserved chances to build. To build and to build up in a tremendous way. Now, I'm not going to shut the doors, or I'm not going to get off this stream until. No. Someone had asked, and they're asking, yes. So we're trying to raise a minimum of $400,000. $400,000. That helps support the land acquisition because we're compensating the villagers. It's a fair compensation, as well as other administrative fees to be able to acquire the land in Ghana. It's 400,000. That's the goal. There are people that I'm talking to on my end, and here's the reality: everybody has to talk. When people ask, well, why can't they do this or why can't they do that? You know, sometimes really they would like to. But the reality is this: do you know that they actually want to give us more than what than what we're asking for. They do. And the funny thing is, here in the United States, the median home price right now, nationwide, the median home price is a little over $400,000. That's the median home price. Usually speaking, a lot is actually like a third of an acre or a quarter of an acre, something around there. It's a lot. What they're providing us is 62 acres of land. Just saying. I mean, we could sit here and be entertained, shock value entertainment of all the craziness that's going on here in the United States. Okay, I get it. But really, the reality is, what are we going to do about it? Look, I'm here for whatever the Most High is going to do. We get the land, hallelujah. We don't get the land, hallelujah. I'll be a little disappointed, and then I'll have to think about, okay, well, it is what it is. Thank you, Father, that we were able to do something and we readjust. But I always have to ask, I said, Father, why did you even let us have this opportunity to begin with? That's what I always ask. I'm not going to lie. I wanted to carry this burden on and get this thing done and be like, hey, this is what we're able to do. Hallelujah. Look at this. Wow. That would have been a lot easier. The Most High doesn't allow me to do easy at all. I've learned that these last 5, almost 6 years. We're not allowed to do easy. Coming up here and asking for funds, man, I don't like it. I absolutely abhor it. Brother Fasthook and I have these conversations. He's like, Brother Karras, I know you don't like to ask for money and and all this other stuff. He's like, but that's what's gonna have to be. And I said, you're right. Within our community, there are a lot of, it's just interesting. I know for us as a people, we can do a lot when we're up for the challenge. This challenge opens up so many doors at so many levels. It's very interesting. So that's where we're at right now, family. If you'd like to find out more, you please visit q2a.org. That's q2a.org. And at the top, you'll see Donate 2026. That is our campaign. And yes, we will be having more videos and things of that nature, because that only just scratched a bit of the surface on that one. So let me return back. Thank you, family. Let me return back to some more of these stories. I'm going to put this on out here in the chat. This is from Daily Sabah. I believe that this is actually I know this is a North African newspaper, but I want to go here because it really didn't give a lot of the justice, I think, in this article. So let me give you the backstory to this. Let me give you the backstory to this. All right, so this is I Show Speed. This was actually him at the African Federation Cup of Nations AFCON finals, where you had the match between Senegal and Morocco. And there had been some shenanigans that people were noticing was taking place via the Morocco and Nigeria game. And of course, those shenanigans were not called out. Morocco was obviously home field advantage where the African Cup of Nations tournament was being hosted. And this tournament was actually a well over 40 days. So it was actually coincidental timing. And I wouldn't say it was coincidental timing. I think this was always the timing. But let me explain this because this is very, very the construct that's here. As I was explaining to you how racism is there in you see that too, Cynthia. Sister Chantal, I don't know if you're still on, Sister Chantal, but
I'm still here. I've been listening, and I saw Cynthia. Yes,
yeah.
we were talking. Me and Carrie have been talking about that, and I told Carrie straight and plain, it bothers me to no end. This man, they. Oh my gosh, they can't help. You know what? As infuriating as it is, I know I've kind of like after I've been quiet and everything, but as infuriating as it is, it's a good thing because now the rest of the world can see exactly what we've been saying about these people. And not only that, we can see for anybody that's still clueless, like they don't create nothing. They don't create anything. And it's exactly like what I said about how they needed you guys over in America to build for them. But as bad as that was, imagine being asked to come over to be able to be told that, well, you're part of the Commonwealth, and so we're going to give you citizenship, British citizenship, and you're going to this and you're going to that, being promised all this stuff. Like, I don't understand why we decided to listen to this, but you were promised this for asking for people to call upon, people in the empire being called upon to help, because it wasn't just us. They called the Pakistanis, they called the Indians as well. So we
Yeah.
came to rebuild. Now I said to Carrie, I said, why would you ask us to rebuild when you've got people there who should be able to build for you, who are supposedly the working class, the poor? You could literally pay them to do that. And more importantly, why are you asking us to rebuild something that you apparently supposedly built over here in Europe? Why would you Yeah, reverse flash, but slow. Why would you, like dead slow? Why would you call us to build something that you built? You had what's it? What do you call it when you build in? I've forgotten what it's called. Um, the what do you call it?
The
When you
engineers, the equipment,
not
the
the engineers,
surveyor. Yeah.
not the surveys, the thing that you use to actually oh my gosh, I'm
Like the
literally, I
construction
swear.
equipment. The construction equipment, like the
No, no,
excavators,
no,
bulldozers.
no, no, no. Nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that yet. The
I
the,
mean
the, the piece of paper that shows you how to build the thing. See, I can't even think straight anymore.
the
Um
architects. Yeah, thank you, Brother Garth. The blueprint
yeah,
architect.
the
Yes.
blueprint. That's it.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Authentic Israel. Thank you for guess
Yes,
what
the
Chantel is saying.
blueprint. Oh my gosh,
You
I suffer.
won. You won. It's just Cindy Lou. You came in second on guess what Chantel was saying. The whatchamacallit
You win a
thingamajigger.
prize.
Whatchamacallit thingamajiggers.
Yeah, that thing. Like you guys have the blueprint apparently. So why do you need us to come to literally put brick upon brick? I didn't
Mm,
understand that. Even as a kid, I still don't. But that just it's very telling, isn't it? So that
mm-hmm.
being said, for me, it's like I'm looking at this and I'm like, you people literally copy everything we do. You cipher our energy. Some sister on TikTok, she said exactly what she said, what I was thinking when she said it. You're literally this is spiritual warfare. This is spiritual warfare. And she said most people don't realize what they're looking at. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking the same thing. All of us that understand this as Israelites, we know, even if we didn't grow up in church again, if we didn't come out of church, if we weren't reading the Bible, we know in our spirit, this is spiritual warfare. You people are siphoning off our energy. You are vampires. You are, you said you watched Stargate Atlantis, right?
Mm-hmm.
The race. That's what they are. They're the gold and
The
they're the race.
goal.
I said what I said. That you cannot
They're
watch Stargate
it's
SG-1 and not know it's them.
spiritual Gaul. Spiritual
Yes,
Gaul.
yes, they are. They're the spiritual Goa'uld, and they are the race from Stargate Atlantis. Anybody, yeah, vampires, because that's exactly what it is. Anybody that has seen that series, that knows, they
You
are
know,
vampires. They just leech,
the funny
and the
thing
rest of the world
is,
has seen it.
the
Mm.
funny thing is, my the eighth grader and say we kind of had a little bit of discussion on this the other day, and they were like, they're like, you know what, Mr. Copeland? Um, yeah, I saw that too the other day. It's like, man, why's my man aura farming off of him? And that's like,
Exactly,
and that's basically it's like, look, it's taking the energy, and that's exactly what
exactly.
that is, and the people can see that. But I'm going to tell you,
They're
and
aura farming. He's aura farming on speed aura farming. Like, leave the banner
yeah, he's
alone.
aura farming on the aura farming. That is actually very very accurate. And but the reality is this: you see Speed here. He's in an Algerian shirt. He's in an Algerian shirt, and again, this article is from Daily Sabah. They're going to talk about football and everything else, and there was a really questionable penalty call in like the last, like, literally stoppage time. So once the game had actually stopped, the official time was on out there. Then they add on time for any type of, like, penalties or fouls or things of that nature, because they have a continuous running clock in soccer. So at this particular point in time, they were given a really, questionable penalty. And that was the Senegalese. So that allowed for the Moroccans to take a shot. Now, the Moroccans during the Nigeria game, you could see their star player. His name is Hakimi, and he was removing the towel so the goalie isn't able to wipe his gloves. So because if your gloves are slick, then they can't
You
create
can't
the
grab the ball.
friction, right? Yeah, to grab the ball because you have leathers. It's just like, when you're playing football here in the US. Look, if your gloves are slick, right, then you're going to have issues catching the ball, especially if the ball is wet. That's the same thing. So they were trying to throw the gloves away or the towel away, and one of the people, even in like the little staff, was grabbing the towel for Nigeria. And the Senegalese spotted that and they saw that and they weren't having it. They weren't having it. And the funny thing is, now, back in the day, I used to be able to have BN Sports so I could actually watch, soccer and things of that nature. Um, and I would like to watch AFCON. I think AFCON to me was like the most toughest and roughest, you know, soccer tournament. Am I correct with that, Sister Chantel? With AFCON,
So,
they're pretty gritty, aren't
um,
they?
I haven't really been watching. I think so, but I haven't really been watching much. If I'm going to be honest, I've barely been watching anything.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, but that was kind of, that was kind of the back in the day, like AFCON, like they didn't even want. Let me tell you how it was. European
Are you
clubs
talking about the
would not.
African League?
Yeah, the African Cup of Nations. Yeah, like the
Oh, yeah, they're
Euro.
going to be.
Yeah, and clubs around the world, especially in Europe, really didn't even want to have their star players participate in AFCON because of how gritty it is. You know,
Yes,
and
that's true.
and so
Especially
now
around their cups.
exactly, exactly, because you can get injured. A lot of people do get injured. I think Mane had gotten injured one time playing in AFCON, and he was the one that won helped to win um AFCON as a star player for Senegal. So so needless to say, Senegal did win. I show speed. He was a Senegal fan, or excuse me, not a Senegal fan. He was a Morocco fan. I mean, obviously, he's there, probably getting some pay from Morocco. They're bored of tourism, things of that nature. So he's gonna go and he's gonna support. He
Mm.
dressed up as a their mascot, the Atlas Lion, and he walked around, and did a couple backflips. That's what he does. He's physically talented, right? He is for a 20 soon to be 21-year-old man, right? And he's very charismatic. But during the time that so he had a lot of love over in the sub-Saharan.
Hmm.
But then when he got to um
Egypt.
the Maghreb area, which is basically your northern African area, north of the Saharan, yeah, right, your Berberi areas, that's when he was experiencing the most racism. Now in Algeria, in the countryside of Algeria, it was fine because you actually have more black folks in the desert. That's how that works. Speed was showing you how it works. You
He
don't see
shows
black
a lot of
folks.
people.
Hmm.
He shows a lot of people where not to go because you've
Yep.
got black people that are reacting and like, oh my gosh, like, well, at least we know, and it's not things that we didn't already know. we just kind of knew, you know. So it's like, okay, so we won't be going there. We already know that those people don't really like us over there anyway, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because the issues that we had with them for us over here, to you guys over there, you know, but yet still calling on us for our energy again to support their causes again, but yet still want to be like, oh yeah, well, we don't like you and we're this and we're that. So it's infuriatingly exhausting, you know. So I'm like at this point, he's confirming a lot of what we knew.
Mm-hmm.
There's so apparently there was I haven't seen the videos to confirm or deny, but I would not be surprised of some
Mm-hmm.
over here saying, why does he need to go over and show this? Because we already know how great Africa is. And I'm like, well, if you don't keep your mouth shut, like sometimes I'm like, I already told you who I think it is. And the sister that was talking about it, she already said it. She said it. I'm not going to say who it is, but then she ended up saying who it was. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I already knew. I already knew because it's like, I mean, not all of them are like this, but there is a certain level of, look, the same kind of issues you're going through over there. So you see how you've got this whole Somalian thing that's going on. Yeah, we've been going through that for years. We've been going through that for years. We've had to listen. Some of those stitches that you heard, I'm sure some of you will be like, he sounds like he's from the UK. Yes, because they were saying the same thing. I'm not black. I'm not black. I'm not black. I'm not this.
Mm-hmm.
One person literally showed, there was a Dominican sister that literally said so much. And I've said this because it was her I was referencing when I spoke to you about this. And I think I said it on this channel as well. I said, for all of those who want to turn around and say, you're not black, when you need us and when it's time for us to go and when we're sitting in our greatness, don't even. You're not black. We don't know you. We don't know you. Be banished to the outer darkness and go stay there with the people that you so want to be like. That's how I see that. I don't care if you don't care for me. I don't care. I don't care that you don't care. In fact, I like that you don't care. Go ahead. Go sit down and go be what you want to be. That's how I see it. But for those of people on both sides, all over the diaspora, because it's literally slinging the hot potato in the room as to who's going to start or say some next mess. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Every time we come together, every time there's a unification going on, paid agents come out and
Mm-hmm.
it's like some idiot comes and drops the bomb and then it all explodes in our faces. And we're left looking around like, what happened? Was we not just showing each other love? Why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said about that, a couple of sisters on TikTok that are talking like it's like this hatred for where you came from. Now, even if you want to be like, oh, what was you saying? FBA, the pipeline to the whole indigenous. Okay, so here's the thing. What I don't get, I want to be quick because there's this sister on TikTok, right? Fair skin kind of thing. She's claiming she's an Israelite, but also claiming that she's the native Indian. And I'm like, okay, so do you want to tell me how that works? Because she's literally teaching from Chat GPT, and I'm like, there's an issue right there. Why don't look? Chat GPT will
Yes.
give you certain truths and yet tell you lies mixed with it. Because if you are claiming to be us, you have to show somebody turned around and says, I don't know if it was Minnie turned around and said, we're going to be taken or we're going to be put back in the land from whence we were taken. That's
Mm-hmm.
Bible. So how are you going to be taken out and put back where you were taken from if you're already there? How are you the people if you literally claim that you claim that you're native to that land, but yet still you're an Israelite, but the Bible says that he's going to take his people, that his people's going to be taken and scattered across the world, across the four corners. How is that? How does that make sense? See, you can't turn around and say, "Oh, well, I'm an Israelite," and because the Bible says, and then with the same breath deny what the Bible says, and then with the same breath turn around and say, "Well, the Gentiles, they changed everything," and blah. Well, if they changed everything, then you can't go by calling yourself that which you claim to be. Oh, it's infuriating. Is it just me?
No, I'm sorry. I was trying to. All right, give me a second.
Am I the only one that gets frustrated with this?
No, you're not. Sorry, could you hear? Yeah, I was trying to get a video up that further elaborates
Sorry, did
on
I
the
talk
truth.
the video into oblivion?
No. So let me go back because I know a lot of people are joining that may not know what we're talking about this segment. Again, this segment is you have I Show Speed. Okay, he was on the continent, and I'm just showing you how he was there at AFCON. Just doing what he was doing as a streamer. Showing being he's paid. He's paid by the government of Morocco, obviously. Moroccan tourism, just like what you had with Kenya tourism, right? Um, but this article has here, it says Cameroon Federation President Samuel Eto'o, who was a very good soccer player back in his day. He used to play for Barcelona, was later banned from stadiums and fined after protesting refereeing decisions during Cameroon's elimination. While influencer I Show Speed's presence brought global attention, but also exposed ugly scenes of fan hostility and racism during his visit to Algeria. So he's right here. So that's what they do. They don't want to actually tell you that they're racist. They don't actually want to tell you that they practice racism. That's not a very it's not very good because understand the North African states heavily rely on sub-Saharan Africa. They do to get goods, produce, things of that nature. To get them transported from the Saharan up into the North Saharan. That's not an easy trek. Let me go here. I'm going to play this. This is fair use from whatever this AI generated thing is. I don't know what popped on up. Bear with me, family.
We are diving into something very important that has been trending across the diaspora. I Show Speed's Africa tour. Over the past weeks, Speed has been traveling across the continent, and honestly, for the most part, it has been powerful to
Okay, let me get through this. Sorry, bear with me, family.
see his bodyguards rushing to protect him as he tried to stay calm. It was so intense that he eventually had to leave the stadium and end his stream.
I'm leaving. We are out, bro. What is wrong with them? Why are they mad though? I can't understand. Why are they mad? Came here, chat. I wanted to watch the game, show y'all the game. But I'm gonna be honest, that's not gonna be possible because of the fact that they think I'm not welcome here. Somebody get out, they chuck water bottles. Why are we still here? We can't even watch the football game. What's the point of us being here? That's it. I mean, like, Bro, everything was great today, besides the water bottles. But chat, put up the W's in the chat, bro. Seriously, bro. You can't let stuff like that get you down, bro. You can't let that. Piss off the whole stream, bro. The whole stream, bro. Everybody was showing love, bro. All of my fans showed love in Algeria. Obviously, what? At that stadium. I don't know.
I have like way too much background music. All right.
Fair. But look, I love
All right.
y'all
Sometimes
so much, Algeria. I love y'all so much.
Speed was not attacked in Algeria because he was racially profiled.
all right. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Here we go. Oh man. Can you all hear me? Give me a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I think I'm still streaming. I think my browser crashed. All right, sorry. Give me just a second. My browser's crashing on me. Perfect. There are some things that I wanted to show some of the hypocrisy that was on out there, because they were starting to say, "Oh, well, they can't film the Ultra fans." This dude and the dude had a camera while he's talking to Speed. No, it's a soccer game. You have to understand racism and the lame excuses. The lame excuses. And the reality is the rest of the world now gets it. They know what that does. They know what damage that does with any type of trade or agricultural responses that they may need. And if they didn't know, a lot of what the Arab, North African, the Maghreb is going through, they're going through some real issues and difficulties because they have always had to heavily respond on the sub-Saharan efforts, which now, thanks to AES, has been reduced. And that's the Sahel's alliance. So literally, for the rest of the world, their own arrogance and racism is getting the best of them. Go ahead, brother Asaph. Shalom.
Shalom. I came in very quickly just to say that the Arabs are on the verge of getting cut off as well. They don't realize that they're in the same precarious position as Europe with the Sahel and the rest of Africa, and their history doesn't help them at all because their slavery went on much longer than anybody else's, and they have been unrepentant about it. And this shows the whole world what they're like and shows our people what they're like. And I believe that it won't be long now before they'll find themselves cut off just like how Europe is cut off. And the worst part of it is that they have not got anywhere else to go.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is that, look, they're eating off the same bread basket that even the Europeans are eating off of.
You see, when the tables are turned, eventually you'll find one of them or most of them being servants, because once the economic tables are turned and they don't have the buffer of Europe backing them anymore, and they will find which way the cookie crumbles.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this just as a caveat, to this. Okay, not all Algerians are racist, excuse me. But that display of racism was very, very blatant. Very, very blatant. But you can tell. All right, I wanted to show this. Let me see if I can actually get this on up. Hopefully it's not gonna because this dude was like this dude was really trying to 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 stump for these folks. And it was like every single time. Let me show you this. This was every single time. Thank you, brother Asaf. Let me share this screen. This is from X. This is from the iShow Speed account. So folks are reposting his Twitter. Here we go.
I like this club. Okay. Whoa, God damn. Oh, shit. Okay, never mind.
Speed, they are ultras. They don't like to fin them. Okay?
I'm sorry. Wait a second. Just the face right here. The face right there. My man is like, wait a second. And he literally is saying this, the Algerian person saying this with a straight face, while he has a camera in his hand. You're at a stadium.
Oh, you talking about the lion? Sorry, I had to step away for a little while.
Right here.
Lion in the face.
Let me put this on back here. Speed's running away.
Speed, they are ultras. They don't like to fin them. Okay?
They had
a They're at a football game. Let me see. Let me tell you what he said. Let me go through the scene.
They had a football game.
Yeah, but they are ultras. You know, the ultras mentality.
That don't make sense.
Straight up, man, bro. Tell it like it is. That don't make sense, because it don't make sense. Especially because he's looking around. He's like, so why do I see camera here, camera there, camera? There's cameras all over the place. What are you talking about?
Yeah, let me replay this so you all can see. This is when white supremacy tries to cap. You know, and they try to cap hard, and it fails. Here we go.
Speed, they are ultras. They don't like to fin them. Okay?
They had a football game.
Yeah, but they are ultras. You know, the ultras mentality.
That don't make sense.
Well,
I'm lying, but believe my lies. That don't make sense.
It's being patronizing and is not even making sense. He can't explain away the embarrassment that is being shown worldwide.
I'd be like, bro, you're only used to lying in your native tongue, aren't you? Because in English, nah.
He said, "You're gonna believe me, right? You're gonna believe me,
Yeah.
right? Right?
Yes,
Right?
that's it. Must think
Right?
I'm stupid. Look, I like that. That's exactly what it is. That look says it all. All of us, we saw that look and we're like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, right.
we know
Yeah,
that
right.
look. Exactly. We're like, we all know that look because we that's a look that's usually on our faces every day. Like, yeah,
And you know the
okay.
funny thing is he was trying. Now give him credit. He was trying. He was trying to keep him in a good light. But my man was getting pegged all up and down his head with some bottles.
Exactly.
I
Come
said,
on. There's
he
only
said,
so
cut,
much.
cut, cut. I can't do this. No, Mo, I'm done.
Exactly.
I'm done.
Even if and this brother takes a lot. He takes a lot. I've seen him. I'm like, I don't know how you do it, man. I wouldn't even put most of us wouldn't even put ourselves in these positions, but he does, and he takes it. But that it was like, uh, hey, jabroni, it's been a while, but like he could not take it anymore. He could not take it anymore.
Well, yeah, and the reality is they're putting all of that into a person that has almost 50 million subscribers. You can argue that he has a lot of pull with YouTube. And, Garth is saying that they throw bananas on soccer
Yes, they
field
do. They've been
games,
doing
people
that
just to
for
flex.
decades.
Yes, yes.
They've been
And
doing
then
that for decades.
and the reality is this. Hey, look, they're not understanding that these folks are about to be economically boycotted. Sorry. Them folks
Mm,
don't go to North Africa like that. It's really our folks. Oh, going to Morocco, going to Tunisia, going to Egypt. Mm-mm.
not any. I don't think that's going to happen because now even Africans can see for themselves just how much. Because for them, it's like they're looking at this guy. Everybody knows I show speed, and this
Mm-hmm.
man is like, if they're doing this to, if they're doing this to an American brother who is
Yeah.
famous, if they're doing this to him, how are
Mm-hmm.
they going to treat you? And you're in the well, we know that you ain't. They're not the same. But how are they? They're all Africans because they live in there,
What
whatever.
else they gonna
But
throw? What else they gonna
exactly,
throw? They're gonna throw
exactly,
something that's gonna end your life. Get out of here.
exactly.
Nobody's gonna take that chance. They literally just destroyed their own tourism with us. They did it.
Not only that, Paris. Not only that. But remember, we said this years ago. North Africa don't want that kind of heat because North Africa understands. Well, they started because remember they started to get very they started to forget themselves and they had to ring themselves
It's
in because they
yes.
remembered, okay, it's not Europe that feeds us, it's actually
It's
Africa that
Africa.
feeds us.
Yes, they had to start humbling themselves back in 2022, 2023.
Mm, especially after
That
that
was
that
it.
C word.
Yep, that was it. And now with that, I'm telling you, there's probably so much. Let me tell you this: when you see things like this going on, there are diplomatic moves taking place right now as we speak. They're literally in the African Union right now, trying to patch this together.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Because now you have black folks that are saying, "Look, we knew how this was happening, and now you can't justify doing business." All right, whatever. Well, that's even more of a cutoff to Europe. Whatever. You probably have a lot of Europeans even saying, "What are you doing? You're
Mm-hmm.
a lifeline."
You have, they have. Can I just
Yeah,
say something
go
um,
ahead.
to Todd Wilson? It's not really crazy. Let me tell you why. It's like he's blowing up in Africa. and why it's for us. It's like it's crazy for us, but for it's not really when you think about it. He's going there and he's getting all that love from his own people. Remember, they did not want us to know that we see when people say, "Well, Africans still hate us and still hate us and still this and that," because you're gonna hold a few. And although I may say what I say, I don't hold a few because I do say, well, some of them do. Some, some, not all. The vast majority is a whole continent, and not only that, there's a whole of them that are in the diaspora. Not all of them have that sentiment, but they have. It's like the admiration for you guys. The admiration for you guys is huge. So it's like, of course he's going to blow up in Africa, and of course he's going to get the love. And not only, it's not even just the fact that it's like, oh, it's someone famous. It's the fact that he's taking time to show the rest of the world, to stream, to put Africa on blast, to show the world Africa is not what you think it was. Africa's not this dirt strip s-hole, quote unquote country. Like the dumbness really does, it baffles me as a country, of course, yeah, but it's not this country that's poor with bald-headed, big-bellied children with flies sitting on them. No, there's a reason why these people always like to go, oh, I'm holidaying in Africa, why they love going over there, why it's like, oh, we're going for a safari hunt. They love it.
Yeah,
They
they
just
do.
don't want you to love
They
it.
don't want you to
And
know. Yeah.
they don't want you to know. They don't want you. They get so agitated when they see you on the
Do you
plane
know?
and you're going to Africa.
Do you know that when we go there, we actually empower them, and they know it. We give them an attitude. They feel a certain sort of way because then they're like, "Wait a second, why are black folks giving attitude to these white folks?" And we're saying, and we tell them, "Hey, they shouldn't be talking to you like this." I didn't
First of all,
know.
they shouldn't even be there. Why are you
Yeah,
here?
exactly. Because when I talk in a condescending way to waiters
Mm.
and stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
in Ghana, and I put on my Jamaican accent and tell them that they shouldn't tolerate with this kind of thing. These people are not anything in their own country, and they want to show off. It makes them feel away. And the Africans like us because we stand up for them. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
reason why they don't want us to come back. The
Yes.
Europeans don't want us to come back because once we come back and we're doing business with them and doing stuff
Oh my.
like that,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, they're not going to be able to manipulate us like how they manipulate the people on the
No.
continent.
Yeah, because we know
So
all
that,
their ticks. We know all their tricks
Mm.
and everything else that they have for, how they're able to, get away with the language of these contracts. And it's like, no, you got it. No, you have to do
yeah,
this. That needs to do that. That has to show this. No, that's what they don't like. They do not like the fact that we can go through and literally say, hey, what are you getting and what you're receiving isn't the value. What?
Especially when you show them the resources that they took out of your land. This is how much they're selling it to us. They're
No,
selling it back
no, no.
to us in the West.
Here's the coldest part. It's not just the resources, but when you're showing them how to actually produce those
Hmm.
resources, to have a finished product from the inputs that they bring from Africa.
Like cocoa.
Remember,
Oh,
yep.
Africa, get on Lindor, please. Get on Lindor.
Hmm. And they're doing that. They're doing that. Look, West Africa is the largest producers of cocoa. Go on
Hmm.
qta.org. Go on qta.org right now. Look at thank you, Brother Fats Nickel. Shout out to Brother Fats Nickel. We were putting that together. Brother Fats Nickel put in his time. That gallery that's there, you see the cocoa trees on it, the cocoa pods. You think I'm walking through rubber plants.
Mm.
That's the compensation.
Do you want to know something, Karen?
They're giving up, literally, they're giving up things to us that honestly, quite honestly, would be tens of millions of dollars.
Mm. Mm. Do you want to know what I find fascinating? Is the arrogancy of these Europeans. For example, um, oh, well, we must create the chocolate. You know, the Africans, they don't know how to create the chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me that these people in their own lands have had these resources in their own lands for, let's just go by what they want to say, millions of years, right? They've
Mm-hmm.
had this for millions of years. I don't really believe those millions, but whatever, we're going through. They've had this for millions of years, and it took you coming on the scene, like, what, about give or take 200 years ago, 300 years ago, to put a little bit of milk in a little bit of cocoa, ground up and everything, and heat it up and then turn it into chocolate. It took you, who didn't even know what sugar was until you started exploiting, who didn't even know that when you eat that stuff, you got to clean your dirty teeth, right? You didn't even know that. Like, laughed at the Africans for cleaning their teeth in with charcoal and chewing what's it that the peppermint and so on and so forth. Laughed at them for doing that while you're laughing, skinning your black ass teeth. Excuse me. You laughed at them and then turn around and says, well, they didn't know nothing about cocoa. They don't know nothing about sugar. We had to
Let
go
me
over there and show them.
let
Like,
me show you. Look, this is the land. This is the land, and I'm showing you this. Here I am in my. This is called a dogo. It is a traditional African top. It's a dogo. Here you go.
So this is the land as you're looking at it. That is actually heading south, and then that's heading east. So that's where we had just traversed.
So I'm doing some things because there are other things going on in the background with that. But that's the cocoa when it's still growing. You see, it's green. And I'm gonna try to put up some more pictures because this is a walk. We're walking through the land. This is the rubber. So we start off with the rubber first. And this is about a good two,
Rubber
3 minutes.
trees.
You see the rubber trees. You see that on the black, or there's a buckets with like the rubber. The rubber comes out white, and they collect the rubber. That's the sap. So the sap starts to ferment. See right there, and then those
These
are
are all rubber
pineapples
trees here.
towards the left. Those are pineapples.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm gonna skip through here
Kind of
because towards the end we start to get um into the
This is
cocoa.
cocoa. Yeah, these are little seedlings.
So let me take a look. So we're starting to get into the cocoa. Um, you'll start to see that some of the
This is
cocoa.
cocoa. This is cocoa.
Yeah,
Yeah, these
it's
are
right.
little seedlings. It's all cocoa right here. Some rubber to now cocoa.
So the riper the cocoa gets,
right
the
there.
darker it gets.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Try to retain as many trees as possible.
So you start to see that's and I laugh because until I realized that you had literally Willy Wonka and the chocolate factory with Oompa Loompas. They were just making fun of us. That's what they're doing.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
They were able to bring in their skill and their talent right from the island. So let me tell you what that island was. That island was actually San Tome and Principe. I was getting the background of how cocoa was actually brought to the shores of West Africa from San Tome and Principe, which is about a 2-hour flight from Accra. I think it's like a 8-hour boat ride. And that's where West Africa, because it is fertile enough to grow that that agricultural product. But I want to bring us on back here. Bear with me just a second. I want to bring us on back here.
You don't like being filmed? But a football match is filming everybody. So I like this club.
So instead of football matches filming everybody, this is what they're afraid of when they may lose out.
You know something, Karis?
Mm-hmm.
You know when the scriptures start going into how all these nations are going to start coming against Israel, you ever think that this could be the beginning of that? I've said this from the beginning that everything is about resources. When they've
Mm-hmm.
when they've used up everything, when there's nothing left for them, they're going to see us living our life, enjoying the fruits of our own labor and the benefits that our land, of us being back in our land, brings. And they're all going to come against us. I do believe that. I do believe that. We're no longer, the whore is no longer going to be a thing anymore because she's done and destroyed at this point. She's not even a thing. But we're talking about the other nations, and we're talking about the other dragon, the one that the 10 give their power to the beast.
Give me a second. I'm listening. Sorry, I wanted to pop that out.
Oh, sorry. I was just
Go
saying
ahead.
that the ten that give their power to the beast, at some point they're going to they won't have anything, nothing left to exploit on their end. So they will look to the south, actually to the north, but semantics. They will look towards our land and they will crave it. And an evil and wicked thought should come into their heads where
Yep.
they now plot to come against the Most High. And like I've said from the beginning, it has always been resource, whether it's the resource of praise and honor that belongs to the Most High that Satan himself wanted, or whether it was the resource in which Cain was jealous because why not my thing? Why is my stuff not being blessed? Why is Abel's being blessed? Or the resource of Esau wanting what he knew was not supposed to be his when he tried to take it back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, it's always been about resources and it's going to be about resources. The Christian church to say, oh, it's because he's good and he's bad. No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's literally about resources. That's it. No, people like Christianity just complicated the whole thing, and that's the whole thing about religion is that it ties and binds you up. It puts you in a bind. It's a spell. Everything about it's so funny because it's like remember what I was reading to you with Isaiah 47, where it talks about enchantment and pharmakeia, like all the rituals that they
Mm-hmm.
have going on in Christianity, and the enchantment that they have in Christianity, the chanting, the it's all there. Just the same way we have pharmakeia in the secular world with the spraying of the sky and the mess that they put in our food and our water and so on and so forth. Even the clothes that we wear is not even safe, right? And then the enchantments being the advertising where they're constantly enchanting you, chanting, 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 seeing the same thing advertising over and over again with this spell literally running in your head to the point where you like, yeah, I've got to have that. You're an addict. And then obviously the biggest addiction is what? Sugar. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
These are them. These are them. This is the resources. This is all they know how to do. Exploit, to enchant you, to make you sick, and then exploit you.
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm literally running into a lot of technical difficulties on out here. they they are not liking this live stream at all. So give me a second,
Let's see.
because I'm trying to, yeah, because I'm trying to show towards the end, and you know what? Look, I wouldn't be surprised that whatever algorithmic AI that they have here, hey, anybody streaming this, shut them down or disrupt them. It is what it is. This is how that goes. That's literally how that goes. So, thank you for all that's able to, continue in on this because, yeah, I'm having some issues um, with this broadcast. My goodness. It's,
The problems you have behind the scenes that no one knows about.
yeah, and it is, it is pretty messed up. But these are always the risks that you take whenever you're doing these broadcasts, you know, um, because again, what you are doing in these streams, so they will literally go and they index everything. They index videos, they index pictures, they index whatever these signatures are. And then what they do is then they try to shut things down. They'll try to shut things down. And that's the product, that we have with this. So especially this is a very live stream. Wow. Cindy Lou is saying, Brother Karras, can you mention about the silver rise? Silver is now $101. Something's going on. Okay, there we go. All right, it looks like I'm able to come back. Give me a second. My goodness. There we go. See, I'm telling you, they're not
Why we
liking
just
this.
tell them let's go? Every time I get out, they tuck water bottles. Why are we still here? We can't even watch the football game. What's the point of us being here? I mean, like, I don't understand.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
What do they
let me
say?
get through that.
Racism is expensive. They don't realize how much they're going to lose out just from this.
Well, and they don't care because you got to remember they're still on the Eurocentric, things of that that nature.
It's funny, isn't it? They just don't realize, like, well, we get our stuff from Europe. Where do you think they get it from?
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. And I say all that to say this. Again, I'm glad that I Show Speed has been doing this tour on the continent. I'm glad.
Hmm.
It shows a lot. It produces a lot. It explains a lot. And then as we're able to show this, as we're able to explain this, this is something that, again, what is it? A picture's worth what? 1,000 words? But man, a video explains it all. A
Exactly.
video explains it all. And they're trying to unexplain, right, what the video has shown. Like, hey, how do you reconcile this? You can't now. And now that they can't, now honestly they're mad because, to be quite honest, they don't have anything that they can stand up against.
They're
This
trying
is
to
them.
unexplain the explainable.
Yeah, this is them. You see what I'm saying? Like, all that craziness that they're doing, that's them. They canceled themselves. They canceled themselves. But I would actually have to say, I would argue that, you know, this may be a great wake up call. This may be a great wake up call. And to be honest, that is a very good thing. I am happy about that. And maybe that's what it took for, the continent to really start to get some, let's just face it, an understanding that nobody was going to be able to show them. Because you can't really see yourself until, honestly, somebody shows you you. So they had to see themselves. Now, will they get better? I mean, maybe.
If they want to eat, yeah, they'll get better.
Hmm. One of these days, maybe. Will it? Will they get it this generation? I don't know. We can only hope and pray.
Pray for them to get better.
Yeah,
At this
listen.
time,
Go ahead.
uh, I was going to say at this time, what does Proverbs say? It says, look, if you pray for your enemies in the time of their judgment, I ain't praying for you. I'm not listening to you. I'm not saying that for those who are willing to pray to change, they're already making their changes. But for the most part, they're literally in their judgment. So imagine you're praying. The Most High says, if you're going to pray for these people at the time of their judgment, I'm not hearing your prayers. So
Yeah.
you're praying and asking the Most High to protect you. And then in the same breath, you say, Father, forgive them and protect them as well. You know what's happening? The Most High's like, I'm sorry, I didn't get what you say. I didn't hear nothing you just said. He said, I ain't hearing your prayers. So for me, I just say, for those who you have covered, the Most High knows. He says, I know the beginning from the end, or I know the end from the beginning, sorry. So he knows who he has out of them as well as us. He knows. And all I ask is, Father, protect those who you have chosen, whether it be amongst us or amongst the Gentiles, and protect their children also as ours too. That's it. But as for praying for them as a whole, as a nation, I ain't doing that. I'm not trying to pray for those while I'm praying for myself. And the most I said, I'm not even going to hear your prayer. Why would I do that? I'm not going to do that. He said,
Mm.
when it's their judgment, I'm not hearing their prayer. I'm not going to hear. If you pray for them, I ain't praying. I'm not listening to you. I think that's it. It might be Proverbs, the first Proverbs. But I know it's either in Proverbs or Psalms. So
Yep.
we all know this is their judgment. We can all look, this is why do you think the Bible says that we say we would have healed you? Because when we were praying for you, you didn't want you realize they didn't even want our prayers when we were praying for them. When anything bad was happened to them while we were getting stabbed in the back by them, by the way, we were still praying for them. We were
Yeah.
praying for the ones who were going through war in Yugoslavia, when it was Yugoslavia, and all these other wars that was happening in Europe. We would pray for them, but they didn't want our prayers. In fact, they saw us praying for them as an insult. How are you going to pray for us when you've got mess in your own backyard?
Yeah.
But now they want our prayers. And the time when they want our prayers, the Most High's like, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're at now. So either continue to pray for them and understand and then be surprised why is the Most High not hearing me? Because he's like, I blocked my ears the minute I heard you say, forgive. Because that's what black Christians do. We're not in that mess anymore.
That is,
We're
yeah,
not in
yeah.
that mess anymore.
And you know what? And that is actually true. It's not that we're callous. That's not the case. It's literally, what is it? Honestly, we are. What do they like to say in this? We have barriers, right? We have barriers, and the reality is, yeah, we do. We absolutely do. And that barrier, it's not a bad thing. It's literally, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, listen, again, as the word stated, look, we would have healed Babylon, but she refused to be healed. She refused to be healed. We wanted to help you, but we can't. We can't, we can't go on out there anymore and try to protect people from themselves when they don't want to be protected. And the reality is, it's not a bad thing.
I like what sis said. She said, when there are servants, then we'll pray for them. Father, let them reach their quota today. I'm sorry, I'm being mean. I don't mean that.
Well, the reality is, listen, we did want to try to at least um we were trying to help them. That's all I could say. Is we were trying to help them.
We've
But
always been
again,
trying
they
to
didn't want
help
to be
them.
helped.
We're still trying to help them. We're still going to be honest. Because even when we're talking, this is telling them. If the day we stop talking completely, because even though our people are like, yeah, we're done, we're still on TikTok, still on YouTube, telling them this is what you need to do, or giving them pointers. That tells you, see, this is that they don't understand, they really don't understand what love really is. Love is not stroking your ego. Love is not running to you every time willy nilly. Love is not giving you everything that you want and what you want to hear. Love is literally, if we're literally, even when the Most High telling us, look, that it's time for you to sit down, right? We're still out here telling these people how to do this, how to do that. We're not going to get involved, but if you're going to do this, this is what you should do. Make sure you don't go out there with your mobile phones. Make sure you don't do this. Make sure you cover up there. We're still doing that. We're still helping them. And why don't they get it? And they still keep coming, talking about, oh, you need to come out here. Why? Why? So you can put us at the front as a human shield. No, we're done. Do the work yourself, you lazy bums.
Sister Chantel's coming with that fire.
I'm sorry. It's just, it's infuriating. It's infuriating to hear people who literally despise our very existence and then turn around and say, "Oh, you, how can you do this? You're not doing anything." And then they had one person, I can't even remember who it was. One had the goal, the absolute goal to turn around and call us lazy. Are you off your head? I Sometimes you just have to laugh. You just have to chuckle because I swear sometimes yeah, I could literally hit some people in the throat and not feel no way. That's why I have to keep myself in. That's why I don't have a channel. That's why. Sorry, I'm getting hot.
I know you're getting hot and bothered.
I am very hot and bothered. I'm like, I just like they can't. They can see they. It's funny that they can see when it's them, when things are happening to them. I sit and I listen to them, and I listen to them listing off the things that this man is doing to them, and I just tilt my head and I'm like, huh? Do you just hear everything you just said came out of your mouth is exactly what you've been doing to us? And then when we come and tell you, well, when you said this man in office is doing this to you, you realize this is exactly what you've been doing to us. Uh, uh, and we just look at them like, and I understand. I really understand. And we were talking about this the other day. Dante said about when he he said that was it the Most High said that we're going to be angered by a stupid nation, by foolish people. Because we sit and we look and we're like, is this who really is over us? Is this really who is running the world? Like Isaiah 14. This is him who shook the nation, who when he stepped into the room, everybody bowed down. Why? Why? We don't know, but they did, including us. And it's like the mess, the sleep, the little bit of sleep crust that's been in our eyes that sealed your eyes shut. You rub your eyes and you look and you're like, oh my gosh, you? Really? And then you start to feel ashamed of yourself that you allowed yourself to get played like this. I don't know what else to say, man. I think I said it.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Sister Chantel, because, you know, I think that this has been a pretty good live. This has been a pretty good live, and we've been on for a minute. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting tired.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
getting
it's
tired.
3 hours and 20 minutes. 20,
I
3 hours and
I
20. Yeah.
I know the not so young and reckless. We delved into a lot of topics. Final thoughts, Sister Chantel.
Family, I love you. Gentile, stay away from me, please. I just need time to chill out. So if you know me, just leave me alone. No, I'm just joking. Um, I just can't wait to be done and gone. I'm just, yeah, this was a long one. But I think sometimes, like I said, we need to just air out and just, because if we don't, and sometimes we just have to laugh it off, because if we don't, I think we'll go completely wonko. We will go crazy, you know? So, I don't know. Look, family, just stay safe, man. And just at this point, only deal with them if you have to deal with them. That's it. I'm sorry. The ones that get you and love you, they'll get it. If they don't get it, then that's their business. Let them stay there stumped. Anyway, I'm gone. I'll see you later, Karis. I love you all. Bye.
All right. Shalom. Shalom. All right. Well, thank you, family. This was a an interesting one. Thank you, Sister Betty, for the super sticker. Hallelujah. Yeah, had some things going on in the background. It's we're in some interesting times, and this week is just getting started. So, for those that have been with me for this morning on Martin Luther the King, I appreciate it. And family, with that said, Most High willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. We'll see what's happening in the rest of the world, and honestly, we'll go from there. But with that said, family, thank you again for supporting this channel. You could do so through dollar sign for Cash App. It's dollar sign COVAWK1, and that's Karacy at MSN.com. I'll put that little sticker on in here, put that blurb in there. We did have a lot. Check on out the Q2A.org. And that's the donate 2026. We have the button there for those that are seeing what we are doing, how we're accomplishing things at Q2A. So please again support that great endeavor. Share that please with your friends and your family, because this is something very important. People think that, oh, well, they don't care about us on the continent. You're an absolute liar. That's a lie. You are an absolute liar. They love us and they want our family to come home and check out what a little bit of what that homecoming looks like. So, with that said, family, most high willing, again, I'll be back on tomorrow, and you all be blessed. Give me a second. I'm going to try to. All right. And I'm going to play this as a little bit of an outro. So, long video. Shalom, family. Here we Here, this is Tema Accra Road. And you can see the beach all right here. Let's see if I can zoom in just a bit. Very beautiful, very scenic spot. Folks are on out there
bathing in the beach on a Sunday afternoon. Got the canoes going. It's over all beautiful. It's a nice sunny day in Accra. So I'm in one of the probably creepiest woods on the face of this earth. This is known as the Last Bath in Asim Manso here in Ghana. So right behind me, we just came back from the water. In this place, this is where the baths were for those that had been enslaved, Africans that were taken over to basically all over the world via the transatlantic slave trade. In these woods, you don't want to be out here at night because people get scared. They have folklore thinking that the ancestors of those that have died inhabit these woods as, different spirits and things of that nature. Besides the point, you do have to give a little bit of awe and reverence because of the stories that our ancestors went through crossing on over into where we live right now as their descendants. So I'll have more to follow.
Jamaica, Barbados, Cuba, we are all returning to the same place where our ancestors had their birth. So we are actually back home. It wasn't the last time. We the descendants have come to have a feel of it. Yeah. So when you turn back and you look at the wall, we are back home. So when we are going, we will stand there, take a picture to signify that we the descendants have come to see our ancestors.
We're here at the Last Baths. This is over here in Asin Manso. It's about an hour and a half north of the slave castle. Hey, greetings everyone. I just want to give you all a little bit of an update where I'm at. I'm here at the port of Tema here in Ghana. So I just got through meeting with some officials that's going to help me to get the container over to where it needs to go. And in that meeting, it was a lot of great cooperation and coordination. Part of that is that you have to be able to communicate, and you never know what to expect when it comes to the type of relationships that you build on up. Whether you're in middle school or you're just an adult that's trying to understand the world again for the new times that we're living in. Being able to understand that these relationships do carry on out a lot of value, and it supports a lot of different initiatives that will then help for the future. No matter what you plan, no matter what you're thinking, or maybe what you're not thinking, it's just what you're being led to. So those are some of the tidbits, and again, you can follow more on my travels here to Accra, now Tema, and pretty soon over to Burkina Faso. There we go. We're leaving the Accra region. We're heading up into the mountains. So camera's a little shaky from the roads, but this is really about only 45 minutes outside of Accra as we're heading a little north and to the west. So we're here just, seeing folks on a Saturday, enjoying the weather, enjoying the That was some fresh coconut water or juice. So you can see the valley. Here we are as we're making our way. These are rubber trees right here. So a whole bunch of vegetation that is obviously minerals and resources that has to be accounted for.
All right, gentlemen, and ladies, I am here at the warehouse. So this is, I'm just taking a video of our pallets. Literally has a Quest United sign on it, Burkina. A mix of different things. We got dental stuff. We got nets and needles, pallet. We got so many things. I don't even know. All sorts of stuff that these guys have already packed up, ready to go. Just giving you a sense of how much work Stephen and his colleagues have done here. A bunch of things all wrapped up, ready to go. We're working hard on this stuff. I'm still taking a video.
This is Karis Copeland with Neo Diplomacy and Region 6 and QTUA. So behind me is a container that is going to Burkina Faso. And I'm happy to present that this will be going on the water here in the next couple of hours as we're getting things taken care of to move along a vision and a dream that we as the diaspora have been working on creating. So thank the Most High for where we're at right now and where we're getting ready to go, because this is awesome. All right. Yay. Yay. As you can see, we're getting ready to get up all of the medical supplies in the container. And as we're going, you can tell that there's a lot more supplies that's going to be here going to Burkina Faso. So stick with me in this journey.